What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is CJ. This is my 1990 S10. I've got a 92 Firebird, and we've been playing a lot with these this summer. Basic rundown, if you have not been here the whole time, I've got some new subscribers, and thank you for that. Welcome to the channel. This is a stock 4.8 with 340,000 miles. And I was on 28.5 pounds of boost a couple of weeks ago at the track, and it went a 560 in the eighth, 888 in the quarter mile, and we're just gonna keep trying to turn it up and go faster. I was just doing some research, and the stock record I believe is like 480s, which is way faster than I've ever been, even with my bigger motor. But we are going to try to do a few things to help this thing along. We've got some hand-me-down head studs. This thing is on stock head bolts and head gaskets. I've never had the heads off this thing. So 28 pounds of boost on the stock stuff there. So we are going to throw some ARP bolts or studs in it, and some push rods as well. Stock push rods, stock lifters, stock rockers, no trunnion upgrade, all that stuff in there is stock. This thing has a cam that I don't even know where it came from, and valve springs. That's it. So we're gonna throw this stuff in there, and you know, hopefully try to get to go a little bit faster. Maybe we get a 550 out of this thing. I do worry a little bit about putting the studs in. After each run, this thing would push coolant a little bit, just for a second, you know, like 30 seconds. It would throw coolant out, and then it would calm back down. So if you've been paying attention to the last videos, I think what it's doing is slightly lifting ahead and then just sealing itself back up after the run. So I think if we clamp this head down and hopefully, you know, not get it to push water, my worry is that it's just going to blow the rods clean out of the bottom of this thing. So, but that's why it's in here. I mean, we're going to try to push the limits and see how far we can get it to go. So we're going to do that. Short update on the Firebird. I've gone to the track 2 or 3 times since I've filmed last with this thing, and it's doing really, really well. So I went 10.010 last weekend with this car, and I drove it 2 hours to Byron Dragway and then drove it home all the way in the rain. Went at 10.0. I am stoked for that. Now, I know there is room for improvement on this deal. I think I had some plug wires start arcing out and going bad. It seems to be a common problem around here with me, at least. So I am going to turn up the boost a little bit more. I'm going to take out the subs again. I'm going to take off the hood. I may cut the exhaust and run a hater pipe out the front. I want this thing to go 9s, no problem. I have another motor for this car. This is a stock 5.3, but I have an LQ4 with 243 heads, studs, gaskets, the whole works there. Stock bottom end stuff, but before I put that in, I would really love to crack off like a 980 with this thing. So, and then after that, it will probably get a turbo and then a converter. So, also, what I had not filmed last weekend, I went to a car show with this thing. I drove it there, drove it home, but on the way back, a buddy and I, Justin, we had lined up at a stoplight, had ourselves a little street race, and we let it rip. Unfortunately, I broke my toy, and the 4.8 still going strong. It broke the transmission. So the trans is actually already fixed. There wasn't a whole lot that was broken inside. Basically, when I let off, or at the next stoplight, when I went to take off, it was stuck in 3rd gear, even though the shifter was in 1st. I went to neutral and then back into 1st, and then it was fine. So it was a good idea to take it out and get it checked out. There was a few things wrong inside the trans, and the torque converter looked like it got so hot that it melted all the paint off of it. That torque converter has been in this truck for 6 years before it's been last freshened up, and it's always had shiny paint. While I pulled it out, it was like 1,000,000,000 degrees. It was still in the truck. When I was taking it out of the truck, it was still like 1,000,000,000 degrees. So I know that something in that converter is not happy. It's at Circle D right now. It's gonna take 2 weeks to get back, or at least a week and a half from now, which is gonna suck. So we will do what we can with this, downtime. I changed the oil. I did that. So that's the first time that I've changed the oil since I put the motor in 3 months ago. So oil change, I'm gonna do the studs, the push rods. The reason I'm doing the push rods, Engine Masters just did, I think it was Engine Masters, or Cody sent me a link to Engine Masters. I didn't even watch the video, but he said that the push rods themselves, changing nothing else, made 15 extra horsepower because the stock push rods are thinner and flimsy at RPM. And just by changing an aftermarket push rod, 15 horsepower. So I have them, it's free. I might as well throw them in. And we'll do, I don't know what else to do to the truck while it's down. Waiting 2 weeks is just gonna be miserable. But we can, kind of focus on this. This weekend, I plan on filming at the track. This thing's gonna go 9s. I daily drive this thing all the time. Over the weekend, I put 2.5 tanks of fuel through it, cruising the streets. So it gets driven. So I want a car that can be driven all day, every day, no issues, and go 9s. So that's what we're gonna work on. All right, we're gonna start with this side. This is the trickier side. I got a couple of obstacles in the way here. I'm gonna pull this catch can off because it's kind of in the way. I gotta pull off these lines, and I'm here working at my house, and I don't at the, oh yeah, that's a lot of water. That's cool. I don't have a lot of tools here at the house. I have a lot of tools, but I don't have a big ass crescent wrench to get these things off. So I might just have to take off the hose clamp on these lines for this intercooler, pop off these vents, brain fart, sorry. Pop off the valve covers, the exhaust. And if you think I'm gonna do this the correct way and pull the heads off to put these studs on, you wrong. I'm gonna pull this valve cover off, pull the rockers off, the exhaust off, and I'm gonna do one stud at a time. I know a lot of people that have been pretty successful with doing that, and also I don't really care. So this is a 4.8. It is what it is. Like, I'm not setting any records here, so, or we might, I don't know, but I doubt it. So I'm gonna do each individual stud. I think it's either 75 or 80 foot-pounds with these ARP studs. I'm gonna pull one out, put one in, pull one out, put one in, pull one out, put one in. Should be pretty simple. Not much to do here, so let's get to it. All right, we got the valve cover off and the rockers, push rods are all out. I'll show you that guy's stuff. Not that I need to prove anything, but stock push rods, stock rockers, no trunnion upgrades, nothing fancy around here. So we're going to pop off this exhaust now, and then we should be ready to get these studs in. Okey-dokey. All right, start popping them things off of there. This should do it. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to blow these holes out. I did not account for that. Shit. might not have to blow these holes out. We might not have to. Oh yeah, nope, that's not gonna work. Shit. Okay. I'm somehow gonna have to clean these holes out. I gotta blow all the oil and or antifreeze, I guess. I think it's mostly oil in there, but so what will happen if you don't? Yeah, there's a lot of oil in there. So what will happen if I don't? If I kept going to this on this and tighten it all the way down and it traps that oil in there, you're really liable to crack the block or pull the threads clean out. So I'm not at my shop, so I don't have an air compressor here to blow them out like I normally would. I'm gonna have to figure that out. Okay, so hear me out here. We got the Milwaukee vacuum, which also doubles as a, you know, it's a sucky blowy. So we're gonna use the blowy, right? But then, you know, you got to adapt down to at least a 1/4 inch line here. So how, you know, how do you go from 1 inch to 1/4 inch? You know, you just got to do some engineering. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this fitting because it goes from 1/4 inch to pretty big-ish, and then we're gonna use this socket. We're gonna put some tape on that, and then the socket goes inside that with, you know, more tape. I think we got this dialed in, and then I'll blow out all these holes. Okay, I'm pretty aware that this video got real ghetto real quick, but the sucky blowy, you know, it's gonna work. And I did try it with the blowy, it didn't work. So now I'm gonna try the sucky, and I think that works. So now, we're gonna start putting studs in, and I'll probably just set it on time lapse because you probably don't want to see an hour of goofiness going on here. So. Okay, well, we're all done with this side. The one stud at a time sure does take a while. So another thing, I don't know if you've noticed, yeah, I'm definitely not doing the small bolts. I could care less. The big ones are obviously the most important. I think we can all agree that the small ones don't do a lot, you know? So if it's pushing coolant, it's probably not pushing out of those, it's pushing out down here. So I'm not gonna pull the intake and do all of those bolts, just the big ones. So I'm gonna get this side back together and then do the other side. I'm probably not gonna film the other side. You already seen this side, so. Yep. All right, guys, that's pretty much gonna wrap up the video. Got this thing all back together. I'm excited to go rip it. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to wait a week or two for that torque converter to come back. I've been watching a lot of videos on the 4.8 record, and he kind of gives a breakdown. It was squirrel tuned. He gives a breakdown of everything that he has done, and surprisingly the setups aren't too much different. I think he had Gen 4 rods in his. These are a Gen 3 rod, so there's that. The biggest thing, well, he had a pretty good chassis race car, and I just got this clapped out S10, but the biggest thing was probably the chassis car, and he was on methanol. So I think we might switch this to methanol. Cody's been mixing it, and it's doing really well for him. So I think he's got me convinced to start mixing E85 and methanol, which is what he's been doing, Cody. So we might give that a shot, and I've got plenty of room to grow on my fuel system. I think my injector duty cycle is only at 50 or 60% on the Bosch 210s. So we'll we'll work on that. Hopefully we can get something. Stay tuned for some Firebird content. I'm going racing Thursday or Friday. This thing better go into the 9s or I will start taking doors off and T-tops off and everything I have to take off to make it go 9s. But I don't think we're gonna have to do that. I think it's gonna go 9s pretty easily. And then we'll put that 6-liter in here and then see what it'll do. So, I think that's it for now. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll catch you on that next one. Thanks.